it's so good to not see you again. When you guys are watching this, it's the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And in 5 days, it'll be Anna's 19th birthday.
19. Wow.
And
I'm kind of excited, honestly.
yeah,
Like, before
fun.
I was, like, scared to turn 19 because I'm like, but I like being 18. But I did that every year since birth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm excited to be 19.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Our dumb ideas. Would you like to go first?
Nope, because I don't have one.
Never.
I literally.
Okay. My dumb idea of the week happened today, like most others. I was at work. Okay, I went into work early today. But so I got a break because usually I don't work enough hours to get a break. But I got a break today. And so I left at 12:15, and when I got home, usually I come into work at 1. So I set an alarm for 12:30 so that I can leave. But today, since I came home at 12:15, it like confused me. And I set an alarm for 1:30, but I was supposed to be back at 1:15. And so I was like late to come back to work. Seriously, not one dumb thing.
You literally can't think of anything.
You know, mess with a dead possum in a lake or...
So my dumb idea of the week is Saturday, like 2 days ago. Me, Anna, and Carly were all hanging out at Anna's house, and we were going on like a bike / pulling Carly in a wagon ride.
Because her foot's
Because
broken.
her foot is broken, so we were like, you're not allowed to walk. In her neighborhood, she has this lake, and like we went down to it to sit and look at it, and it was like it was nighttime. And when we were sitting there, there was like this thing kind of sticking out of the water, and Anna asked us, she was like, do you guys think that that's trash, or do you think that's a fish, a dead fish? And me and her were like, it's obviously trash. Like, it's not just like a dead fish sitting there. Like, we would have noticed. And then we went over
And at this point, we had been sitting there for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And then we went over to look at it, which it was literally like...
A foot away from Carly.
And then me and Anna, or one of us, got up first to look at it. And it was, in fact, not trash. And we still don't 100% know what it was, but it was a dead creature. We were like trying to figure out what it was. And so the dumb idea part was I got a stick and was like moving it around in the water to try to see what it was, like see more of its body. Yeah. Trigger warning.
Oh yeah, you should like say that maybe before.
So yeah, I was like poking at it with a stick, and it was nasty, and it was hard, and it was like literally dissolving, like whatever it was. There was no fur to be seen. And then we found 2 other actual dead fish.
We know for sure they were fish because
they
like
were fish.
we could see their whole like outline. Like we think it's a fish, but some people
definitely said I don't think it's a fish.
You don't think it's a fish?
No.
We'll say
there was like no scales.
Oh, you were right.
Anyways, I don't
really.
I don't think it's a fish because there were like no like scales or anything. And like whenever I was touching it, you know, like whenever it's like Thanksgiving time, or like you have like a rotisserie chicken, and whenever you're like touching the skin, it kind of like moves, like the top layer. That's what it was doing whenever I was touching it.
Definitely put a trigger warning before this. Like 100% you have to.
And so yeah, that's why I don't really think it's a fish. And some other people think it's a possum, but I also don't think it's a possum because we took a video, and that's why other people saw it. And like in the video, it definitely looks like a possum because like you can like, I don't know.
It really looks like a possum in the video.
But like in real life, it did not look anything like what it looked like in the video.
Yeah. Someone also said that it might be a turtle but like there was no like shell.
Yeah.
But like what I'm thinking is like what would be in the water that doesn't have scales and doesn't have fur?
Yeah, literally.
Like
what?
what's the other option? That makes it worse. So much worse. Yeah, that kind of was a dumb idea. So,
Yeah, poking a dead creature.
yeah, we
In
don't
the
even know what it
water.
was. It could be like something supernatural. Oh, that'd be fun.
So I actually had a dumb idea. I have a dumb idea every week, I guess, but like I always
Yeah.
don't have one. Like when
I
I'm
always have to think of them
sitting
for
there.
you. Or that one week where your dumb idea was not having a dumb idea and you had to use one of mine.
Yeah, but then right after that, I had a dumb idea.
Oh, really?
You don't listen to our podcast?
No phone summer.
That was before the No Phone Summer, so...
Is that the second episode?
Third.
No. Second.
Third.
Third.
It was definitely the third one. There's only 3 out right now. And so it had to have been the third episode.
I think it was the second. The third
No.
episode was about Avatar.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
think it
we
was the
had
Avatar
dumb
episode.
ideas.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it was the Avatar episode.
No, it literally was because the Avatar episode was the first one where we sat here. Episode 3 is the latest one out. Episode 4 isn't even out.
Right. I know that.
No, you don't.
No.
Anyways. She sits here and, like, talks. I do everything else.
I come up with ideas. That's
Yes,
why it's
she
called Dumb
does.
Ideas.
Yeah, she comes up with, like,
I'm
topics and things to do, but I do literally everything. She doesn't know when those things
You're
are happening. She's like, it'd be fun, this. And then
You're like, okay, I have to figure out how.
I tell her the schedule of the episode about 20 times before we start, and then while we're doing it, she still doesn't know what's happening. And then she's like, so we're talking about Avatar, right? I'm like, no, we're talking about Riverdale. And she's like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what today's episode is about.
Don't tell them that.
Because-
They'll click off.
That's why we're talking about Riverdale, because it's Anna's favorite show, and that's why we're talking about it, because it's her birthday
This is
thing.
my birthday episode.
Which, speaking of, I was supposed to, like, bake you a treat,
Oh.
and I didn't. Because
I
I
know
didn't have
you
time.
wouldn't.
But I got you presents.
That's so fun. I love the thought that you gave me treat. What is it? The treats.
They don't exist.
What is it? What was it gonna be?
I don't know.
Thank you for the cookies. I love the thought of the cookies. That's what I'm saying. You suck.
Whoa. Anyways, just so you guys know, we're filming this like 3 weeks before her birthday. So she's getting early birthday presents. So there's 3 things to this gift, but they all go together.
Okay.
And the other one is under that blanket over there, but there's no way I'm wrapping that. So Anna recently has been into this thing. She hasn't really done it ever, but she's into it and she wants to get into it. So I got her things to get into it.
Oh, I don't know what it is, like at all. I'm like nervy. I love the bag.
Yeah, horse girl.
Definitely not, but I'm scared. Whoa, I know how expensive these are.
That one wasn't really that expensive.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yeah, so for those of you listening, Anna's really wanting to get into baseball this summer. And so I got her a baseball mitt, and I got her 3 balls in this little box thing.
Ooh.
And so now I'm sure you can guess what the thing under the blanket is.
Yeah, why it's like
But-
kind of flat-ish.
Yeah, but now you get to see its glory, because it's a very what the vibe you're going for.
Okay.
Kind of.
How did you find one so plain?
I looked it up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very classic set.
I'm so excited.
So fun. I love getting gifts for people. It's like my favorite thing to do.
I know, and you're so good at it too.
Thank you. So now that you've opened your presents and you had your pretend treats, we're going to talk a little bit about you.
Wait, can we have a little moment where we eat the treats? Can we?
Because they're not real.
That's so funny.
You can eat your little treats while we talk.
Okay, wait. Give them to me. No, they're on that shelf. Give them to me. Oh, thank you.
Anyways. So, what was your very first memory? Ever.
What?
Do you know what your what's like the furthest back you can go?
My earliest memory. I'm like laying in my crib and I can see a mobile
making this up?
play.
Oh my gosh.
I was about to do the whole classic like mommy and daddy like looking over the crib and being like,
Oh.
"Oh, our sweet baby." I don't know what my earliest memory is. What I can think of is I don't really know how old I was, but I remember my family was redoing the basement and they were adding a bedroom down there for my sister. And they're putting carpet in. And I like really do remember that. And my mom was like, "You were definitely way too young to remember that."
Wow.
And so that's like my earliest memory, I think, because I was way too young to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like taking naps, waiting for my sister to get home from school.
I remember first meeting my cat Patches when I was 3. So that could be probably my earliest memory.
Yeah. I also remember like being in preschool and then getting bullied for being small. All of us were small. But I was like tiny.
That's so funny.
And then she became my friend, so
Wow.
I'm like the hero in the story. So should I tell the story?
You want to?
So I remember in preschool I was wearing these like teeny tiny heeled shoes. Okay. Well, the shoes were not this big. The heel was this tall. So I wore that to preschool and this girl was like, "Are you 2? 'Cause those shoes are really small." And I was like really hurt and I was offended. And I was especially hurt that my best friend didn't say anything. And then I went home and I told my parents and they were like, "Well, maybe she just needs a friend." And I was like, "Okay." So I went back to school the next day and I was like, "Do you want to be my friend?" And she was like, "Yeah."
Wow.
Yeah. I remember whenever my parents taught me about being generous, there was this paper towel on the coffee table and there was 3 stacks of Oreos. One of the stacks was 1 Oreo high, the other stack was 2 Oreos high, and the last one was 3. And me and my 2 sisters were told to sit down, and my parents said, "Pick a stack." And my older sister picked first, and she picked the one high because she understood what was happening. My youngest sister picked second, and she picked the tallest one. I waited because I didn't really know what was going on, and then I got the 2 high one. And then I remember it was like really dramatic, like we had just gotten in trouble for like not sharing or something.
Okay.
It's story time! As you know, we are reading I Spy Fly Guy by Ted Arnold, and we're on chapter 2.
You want to recap them on if they missed it last?
Yes, so if you missed it last time, we learned that this kid, Buzz, has a pet fly. And they were playing hide and seek, and the fly hid in the trash can, and the garbage man came. So.
Yeah, I was scared for him.
I know.
I'm ready to know what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 2. Buzz's dad was going to work. Follow that truck, cried Buzz. The truck drove and drove and drove all the way to the town dump. Buzz ran into the dump. Fly Guy, where are you? Fly Guy, he cried. Answer me! A zillion flies all answered. Buzz.
A zillion?
A zillion. Oh no, cried Buzz. They all can say my name. How will I find Fly Guy? Buzz spied a fly hiding. Do I spy Fly Guy? The fly flew away. Buzz spied a fly eating. Do I spy Fly Guy? The fly boinked him on the nose and flew away. Buzz spied a fly landing on his hand. Do I spy Fly Guy? The fly bit him and flew away. And that is the end of chapter 2. You'll have to come back next time to hear the end of the story.
Still hasn't found Fly Guy.
Yeah. I hope for the best.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the little story time we had.
Yeah. Okay, so our next topic is my favorite show of all time, Riverdale.
Yeah.
Now, I have a kind of a good reason why it's my favorite, because, like, I can acknowledge that it's not a great show, okay? Like, towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason I love it so much is because I started watching it during, like, a really, like, important part in my life, I feel like. And so I just kind of stuck with it. And also, it really was amazing at the beginning.
It was a good show for, in my opinion, the first 3 seasons.
And, you know, I really did not understand why people didn't like it when it first came out. Because I was like, it's a good show. I don't understand. But, like, now I get that because it's based off of Archie comics, that's what makes it bad to the beginning. That's what makes the beginning bad to most people. Because it's nothing like Archie comics.
Yeah.
And I only realized that once I watched The Last Airbender movie. Because I was like, this is a bad movie. And then I was like, well, no, it's not. It's just only because they strayed so far from the source material.
Mm-hmm. I also kind of like season 4, but like that's where everything goes downhill and plot holes start.
Plot holes, yeah. I think season 5 is gotta be my least favorite, but only because I genuinely cannot remember what happens in it.
That's when they get old.
Like, I know, but like, what happens? Like, they're old, but what do they do?
That's literally it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't remember. Like, it's not memorable. Like, 5 and 6 kind of blend together to me because they're old in both of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? Not old, but they're not teenagers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're their age. But, which I thought was a really smart choice, honestly, because they were not looking like teenagers anymore.
It would have been smarter just in the show, but...
No.
Yeah.
I don't care. I wish it was still going. I wish there was more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just kind of go first off season by season, like fave parts.
Okay.
I don't know.
So, spoilers ahead, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you probably don't care.
Yeah.
But
Season 1 is the murder mystery of Jason Blossom.
that was crazy. When you just said that, that was like...
Whoa.
That was like... I don't know what happened to me. It's like... Oh, that was crazy. I just got like so excited. I love Riverdale.
Alright, so when you were watching season 1, like, do you remember who your favorite character was?
Betty. Like, Betty has always been like a close second. And she was number 1 for the first season, I think. Or at least the beginning of the first season, I think. And then Cheryl just like really went up in ranks. And she like became my absolute favorite.
But yeah, for me, Betty has always been my favorite character, like, since the beginning. When I first started watching it, I was like, I don't really know where I started, because I did not start at the beginning.
Right. Like, you walked in, like, when your mom...
Yeah, my mom was watching it, because my sister Marcy had watched it, and only 2 seasons were out when I was watching it, or when my mom was watching it. So like my mom heard about it from my sister, and so like she was having my mom watch it, and then I walked in on one of the episodes and just kind of like watched it, and now I started watching it with my mom like every Wednesday when it aired. And then I was like, you know what? I've literally never watched like the beginning of this show. And so then I went back and watched it again, and then I was hooked. Like, it was my favorite show for a long time.
I mean, that's like a crazy good show to 14-year-olds at the time, at least.
It was really good for its demographic.
Yeah, like it's so dramatic, and like everything that happens is just so 14, you know?
Yeah.
Like rewatching it now, I'm like, okay, it's a little cringe.
A little cringy.
You know? But like, and then I remember they're 14-year-olds, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like, that's fair. Or they're teenagers, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not 14. I remember where I was when you were telling me about it.
I think they are in season 1 supposed to be freshmen, because like in the beginning,
because it takes 4 seasons for them to be in high school.
But yeah, they're freshmen.
They never looked 14.
They never
on
looked
the show.
The character's age,
except for season 5 and 6.
Yes.
Only seasons.
Only when they were actually playing their age.
5 and 6 were the only seasons when they looked their age.
Yeah, season 1 like really got me hooked. It was like really well done. But I'm pretty sure. Do you have anything else to say about season 1? Because I'm about to get into season 2.
I remember where I was. Oh no, that was season 2. Whatever. I remember where I was when you were telling me a lot about Riverdale. Like, this was before I had watched it. And there was several times when you talked about it and being like, you should watch it. And I'd be like, I will. But, like, I just never did. Well, I did. But, you know, it took me a while. You're telling me about it at our dance studio. And we were outside and you were sitting on the metal bench, and I was standing in front, like, directly parallel against the fence. And you were just telling me about it. And you're like, there's this guy named Archie, and he's the main character. And I was like, does he have red hair? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, is it like curly? And you're like, kind of. And you know what I was imagining? The redhead nerd from Liv and Maddie. That's what I was imagining.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was like, that is not him. Like, at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, as obsessed you are now with Riverdale when I first started watching it.
Well, yeah. Duh.
Not duh.
And then we were at the golf course, and you were telling me about the black hood, and I was imagining a guy in like a black cloak.
The mini golf.
Yeah, mini golf course. We were at mini golf.
At a golf course.
Yeah. We were at mini golf, and you were telling me about the black hood and how he calls before he like kills somebody. And I thought you meant he calls the person he is going to kill. That's what I was imagining. That's not what happens.
In season 2, which season 2 is my favorite season, because I just like the plot of that one is like the best plot they have. Season 2, like that's the plot with the black hood, and that's like that one's just still so good. Like if I watch it now, I would still be so into it.
Something I didn't like about that season, but like I totally get it, is when they showed like the black hood's eyes, they were like bright green, you know? And then when they showed the person who it was without the mask, they weren't that bright. And like I get it, obviously they didn't want you to know, because if you saw bright green eyes, you'd be like, it was them, you know? So who was your favorite character in season 1?
I already told you.
Oh, so who's your least favorite character in season 1?
Probably
I know mine.
Archie.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, she's pretty annoying.
I did not like Alice Cooper in like the first season. And probably the second too.
I always just hated Archie with every fiber in my being.
Jughead's not as bad as I remember him being.
Yeah, same. He's actually just gets worse.
Yeah, like at the beginning he's actually like pretty decent. Sure, he's a little bit emo and he knows it. I hate my birthday because I like to be alone. That's like actually probably my least favorite scene. because Betty literally tried so hard, and it wasn't her fault that there was more people there, and Jughead just got so mad at her. And it's like, it's not her fault, and if you actually cared, you would see that. And later he did, but right away, I mean.
But yeah, for me, Archie's always been the worst ever.
Yeah, no, I
and
don't
season
like him.
1 was Miss Grundy, so. And I was like, literally stop. So maybe I hated her more than him at that point, but then I hated him. I
Yeah.
really don't like Archie.
I just don't like main characters. Well, main character complex.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, no, you don't have to do this on your own.
Like, just calm down. Be a normal person.
Yeah. Like, I get wanting to save someone, but you don't have to be like, oh, I have to go save them. Even though I have something way more important to be go. Now, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Season 3 is about the farm and Griffins and Gargoyles, which my favorite episode of the whole series is in season 3, and it's the Midnight Club, and it is it's like inspired by the Breakfast Club, obviously, but it's like actually not very similar at all.
It's just the dynamic and the vibes it gives.
Yeah, it's so cool. And because like all the main characters are playing their parents in like a flashback episode, and literally it just fills me with so much joy whenever I'm watching it, because you can just tell that they had so much fun filming that episode because they got to be people that they're not used to being.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, that's also probably my favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember, speaking of like favorite episodes, like that one and I can't remember if this is the last episode of season 3 or the last episode of season 4. But it's the Escape the Night, which I'm pretty positive it's the end of season 4, but like plot-wise it doesn't really make sense for it to be the end of season 4 in my mind from what I remember.
I don't know what episode that is.
Then it's probably season 4, because it's the one where they like find out who's behind everything, and it's Penelope, and then they
Oh no, that's season 3.
are in like ball gowns and stuff running through the woods.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And they have to do like character specific little challenges, that kind of stuff. I just love that vibe of like the characters do like their unique talents, and like
I did not like that Archie's challenge was fighting a guy wearing a bear costume.
yeah, both the boys' challenges were just fighting,
Yeah.
and then the girls were like knowledge.
Yeah. Like, Jughead's not even that good at fighting anyway. He's just in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like not buff. And he's like fighting this, like,
Also not buff. Dude.
who?
Chick.
Okay, but Archie? Okay, so he's like strong, right? But he's still 16.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fighting this like literal assassin who's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you win? How? Like, I just don't get it.
Like, obviously, weird things happen.
It's like, for some
But
reason, I choose not to excuse the randomness with Archie. But every other randomness, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Just gotta think about it.
Yeah.
I just don't like him. Jughead, I actually like kind of like a little. He's just like a little annoying, but I mostly like him.
I like Jughead until he gets older.
He's kind of not good.
But anyways, those two are my two favorite episodes, like, of the whole show.
They're good.
Which is weird that they're in season 3, because my favorite season is season 2. But those episodes are just like fun to watch.
Yeah. So what's like your least favorite episode?
There's probably like too many. Like, I probably blocked it from my memory, because it's probably like in season 5 or probably the whole season 5 is just my least favorite.
Yeah.
Season 5 and 6 are just...
Well, but I think 6 is kind of fun.
Okay.
I think it's like fun. And okay, I feel like since they'd already been deemed a bad, weird show, but they kept getting seasons, why not do whatever you want, you know? So it's like, add in superpowers because you can. Like, I just feel like that's something you would have done in the past.
Yeah, when I was 14.
which is how old they are. The writers.
Probably.
That's, I just think that's...
See, I understand that, but when you had a phenomenal show, why would you want to ruin it?
Well, I don't think they wanted to.
Because it wasn't deemed weird until they made it weird.
Well, maybe that was an accident. And then they were like, fine,
oh,
it's
okay.
fine. Let me make this random rock that they found in Cheryl's yard be Archie's kryptonite, and now he's not strong. I feel like that is so funny. And also, it's just kind of interesting and fun. It's like...
But it would have been...
But also it makes sense.
It would have been and stayed a good show if they didn't do all that crap. If they would have kept it a murder mystery, then whoa, that show would have been good for all 7 seasons and not just 3.
You know what? Poop on you. Because I think the fact that they have like parallel dimensions, which you think are real, by the way, makes everything make sense. Because we know that parallel dimensions exist.
We don't know.
In this universe of Riverdale.
They didn't have to find something to make sense if they didn't do the weird stuff.
What? Anyway,
Exactly what I said.
Them having superpowers in this world where they didn't have superpowers makes sense because another universe where they have superpowers leaked into this one. Duh.
Yeah. They covered up the weirdness, but they didn't have to do the weirdness. It would have been a better show. Like, why? Like, this is exactly... I've said this, like, once before.
Say your thing.
I've said this once before. They should have ended the whole show when they graduated. Like, it would have been a perfect ending to the show.
High School Musical ending.
If they just ended the show when they graduated, because it would have been cut off, it would have been ended neatly. If they just had a happy ending where they did meet yearly at Pops and not just like they grew up and didn't for some reason.
Yeah. What kind of fake friends?
Yeah, but if they just stopped there, like they stopped at like, we'll meet every year at this spot at Pops, and they did. That would have been a great ending. Everyone would have been like, yay, it's a good ending. It's like stayed a pretty good show.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they had to keep going for 3 more seasons and add the weirdest stuff, made them old, took out all these storylines, made so many plot holes, didn't explain so many things that happened when they were teenagers, cut off the whole story and mystery that they were literally had. They were like, oh, let's just stop doing that. Let's just make them old and like do a 7-year jump and just like stop having Jughead and Betty do mysteries.
But then what would I have done?
You would have watched the show and then you would have been happy because it was a good show and everyone
what would
loves
I
it
have
still.
done after it was over?
What are you doing now?
Nothing.
Yeah, you're
but watching it again.
So
okay, you know what I keep saying my least favorite. That's not true. A scene that I really hate, and I think it's in 5, maybe 6. That scene where Tony is going to Cheryl, and she's like, will you please pay for us to keep the school going? Because we all want to be teachers there now. And then Cheryl's like, no, I have to keep paying. I'm sorry, I only have enough money to pay to keep renovating my house because it's the only way to stop the curse from consuming me. You know, this curse that doesn't exist but she believes is like the Blossom curse. And then Tony's like, if you ever loved me, you would do this. How manipulative is that? She doesn't have the means, you know? Mm-hmm. And the fact that Cheryl then goes and does it, like, that's so much sacrifice because she really believes that this curse is going to, like, make her evil and, like, kill her, you know? If she isn't renovating her house, always. And she, like, sacrificed that to help Tony, who's married to somebody else. and has a kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, Tony is like the second worst character.
yeah, like I really don't like her because why would you ever say that? If you ever loved me, you wouldn't say that. Like, what?
Yeah. Tony is awful to Cheryl.
Like, that's crazy. Like,
so, yeah, I don't like Tony, don't like Archie, also don't like Kevin.
yeah, I don't like Kevin. How could you betray your so-called best friend so fast and when she's like trying to help you? You're
And
like,
so many times.
stop it. I know, so many times. And you're like, shut up, Betty. I have a thing, you know? Like, I'm in a cult and it's my thing now. Stop trying to make me unhappy.
Literally, so many awful characters in this show, honestly.
Betty is just like, she never has.
I've never been
betrayed
annoyed with
me.
Betty.
Yeah. Like,
I've been annoyed with every single character in that whole entire show except for Betty and Luke.
oh, that's not his name in the show.
Oh yeah, that's the actor's name.
Mm-hmm.
Betty and Fred.
Yeah.
Are the only characters I've never been annoyed with.
I cry every time I watch the Luke Perry memorial episode. Like,
Also, these characters went through so many lifetimes of trauma.
I know.
Every single one individually.
Yeah. Like, even one of the things that happened to them would be enough to
Ruin someone.
But like they are teenagers and they're like going through so much.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like still gives them like the hardest time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why?
Yeah, so much happens.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is like the absolute craziest thing? Or what's a crazy thing you can remember? When the devil shows up for like 2 scenes.
I think just the whole super power plot and the whole dimensions and angels and demons and like all of that was just too much. Like,
okay, so I did not like the superpowers mixed with like the biblical stuff, but I think like separately it was like kind of cool. Okay, I liked the superpower plot. I didn't too much like the biblical plot because it feels like there wasn't really very much to hold on to, you know? It was just this guy who I don't fully understand. He just wanted to destroy Riverdale for some reason because he was like a demon or something. And he was like inflicting the plagues onto them. And I think that's like all I remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that all these weird plots, like, they're good in themselves if they were like literally a completely different TV show or movie. But because this is Riverdale and it started out as a realistic, like as realistic as a murder mystery can get, kind of good TV show, for them to add in things that are so out of its genre, it's unbelievable. Like, why? Like, I just don't. I am sad. I'm saddened that they had to, like, ruin it.
Season 5 or 6 was aliens.
Season 5 was the aliens. Like, everyone watching this who has stopped watching Riverdale or never has, I'm literally sorry. Like, you're probably so lost, probably have clicked off by now. You're free to, anytime.
Don't. I need you to hear it.
They won't know. Alien superpowers, demons, biblical stuff, angels, the devil,
That's biblical
murder
stuff.
mysteries, all in one show.
You know, you get the best of both
All
worlds.
You get the worst of all worlds.
Nuh-uh. I don't agree with that. You're just flat out wrong.
I'm not wrong. I believe that probably 90% of our viewers will be on my side. Don't come for anyone.
I can't even believe you guys.
Don't come for anyone.
I'm gonna come for you.
But yeah, it's so unbelievable. It's so crazy.
Okay. Let's move on to your favorite and least favorite ships.
Okay. I don't think I like a single ship. Honestly.
Why? I
I
mean,
don't think
there's
anyone's
like
good together.
I like Jughead and Tabitha.
I guess I can see that. I don't really remember them because I didn't care.
Mhm. I did. I like Jughead and Tabitha. I thought they were cute. I like them better than Jughead and Betty because they just treat each other better.
Yeah.
And I honestly like Veronica and Archie. I feel like they complement each other well.
Yeah, that's the closest ship I can probably be okay with.
But I don't really like
anyone else.
I don't like anyone Cheryl has ever had, anyone Betty has ever had.
Betty's just too good for all these characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one good enough for her in this universe.
Yeah.
And so she tried to find another one, and that's why there was a rip in the thing, and that's why all the superpowers and aliens came. Because Betty was trying to find a lover in another universe.
Don't confuse everyone, because that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true.
I just realized people
could think that's true.
Because it could happen. It would happen.
Yeah, but it didn't. So it's not that crazy. Okay, so what about Fangs and Kevin or Fangs and Tony?
Neither.
No, you have to pick one.
Well, I've never liked Fangs and Tony. Whenever I was saw them that they were together, I was like, where?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. But honestly, I mean, I liked it better than Fangs and Kevin. But out of Kevin's relationships, I do like Fangs the most. What about Hermione and Fred or Hermione and Hiram?
Hermione and Fred.
Really? Actually, yeah, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, because they were good.
They were actually happy. Hermione was actually happy for once.
Yeah, that was the only time Hermione was happy.
Yeah. Although I will say I did like it every time Hiram and Hermione got back together, but I think it's just because I was
my favorite
they're
was when
both
they
mobs. Well,
apart.
yes, for their own good, yeah, I like Hermione and Fred better. But I just feel mob boss and mob wife. It's just kind of
I hate Hiram.
Yeah, really. He's he just has a weird beef with these teenagers.
He's
kind of get a life, honestly.
He's the most annoying. You
know what I think is the craziest thing that happened in Riverdale?
What?
Is the fact that Hiram Lodge, an adult man, framed a teenager for murder because he just didn't like his vibe. What? He got sent to juvie for an illegal boxing match juvie, by the way, where he could have died in there. Why? And he sent out these cards in Griffins and Gargoyles that was kill the Red Paladin that was Archie. So it's kill Archie. It's why do you hate him so much just because you're I kind of don't like you? And it's you are a grown man. He is a child. Calm down. What is your beef?
Yeah.
That is crazy. I think that's just the only thing. That's the only thing that's crazy in Riverdale.
The craziest thing, you think?
Yeah, it's the thing. It's the thing that's what? That makes me just furious, honestly. So, Alice and Hal, or Alice and FP, or Alice alone?
Alice and FP.
Yeah, I think it's cute. I think it's fun. So, favorite musical episode?
I
I
there's
literally could not pick.
Carrie, Heathers,
Hedwig.
Hedwig,
Next to Normal.
next.
American Psycho. That one was my least favorite because it's literally only like Kevin singing, and like Betty sings like one song and that's like it. And then the last one is Archie the Musical original songs.
Probably Heathers.
Yeah. It's so like Heather's is like so nostalgic to me because that's, you know, the first time I actually got a glimpse of what Riverdale was, you know, because you played Beautiful for me while we were walking around the neighborhood, and I was like, this is a fun song. And I had never heard Heather's the Musical anyway. And whenever they're like, we can be beautiful, just not today, I was like, why not today? You know? Like, I didn't get it. But, like, now I get it.
What's your favorite one?
I, like, literally don't know. I love them all for very different reasons. Heather's is nostalgic. Carrie, it's, like, the first one. And so I think it's, like, cute. You know? Because, like, they were just trying it out. And it's, like, very, like, it's very, like, cool that they just had a random episode where they were, like, singing all the time. I feel like that's very interesting, and I love that concept. And Hedwig, I feel like, gives off the most Riverdale energy. Like, the Wicked Little Town songs is very Riverdale, and the, you know, just like Wig in a Box, love that song so much. Not necessarily that just gives Riverdale, but like all the songs in all the musicals is just like so good. Next to Normal, I just think is like very fun. Like, just like genuinely. Also, I think it's fun that Alice got to sing a lot of the songs. And I think it's a cute little storyline. Don't like American Psycho. There's like one good song.
Literally.
And it's The Girl Before. Or A Girl Before.
Pretty sure it's just Girl Before.
Oh, and even then, I don't really listen to it very much because I don't listen to slow songs very often. And then Archie, the musical, you know, I like that one because it's Riverdale exclusive. Like, you know, when I'm listening to it, I'm listening to Riverdale, not just their version of something else. Like Glee. Like, I love listening to Glee songs, but I especially like listening to the original Glee songs. So, it's just kind of like fun. But I don't like, however, in the Archie the Musical, that the way that they did it, like, they made other people play other characters in certain songs because that person dropped out of the musical. It's like, why'd you have to do that? Because now when I listen to this, that's not Jughead singing in this song. That was Jughead singing in the other song. Not in this one. It's some random guy named Clay that we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that one. I like Kevin and Clay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, I actually think was, like, good. And, like, Kevin was, like, actually, like, good for once and happy and real. Yeah, and I don't like that Julian was Archie in, like, the main song, you know, where, like, everybody's in it.
Yeah.
It's like, why couldn't Archie be in that one song?
All right, well, moving past the musical episodes into the last season, which is season 7, whenever they go back in time to the 50s and they're teenagers again.
Okay. But what I think most people don't get is, like, when they're watching it, they're like, that is not a teenager. That's a 30-year-old man. It's like, duh. They're still them. Like, the world is still the same. They just all kind of got, like, their minds got reset, not their bodies.
The people hating on it are people who haven't watched it. So.
Well, like, duh. I'm just explaining it to you guys, you haters out there.
But they wouldn't have to hate on it if it was good.
Anyways.
All right, so they go back in time to the 50s and they're teenagers again. This season was, like, in ways better, but the whole entire season was a plot hole. Because they were like,
yeah.
Once again, they were like, all right, for our final season, let's go back to the good old days where they were teenagers and they were just doing like Riverdale teenage stuff, but then they just cut out the whole entire plot that they were just building for the past 2 seasons, and they just threw it in the trash.
Yeah, that's what I hate, is that, like, all their relationships were gone. They weren't friends anymore. We were back to season 1, relationship-wise. And people started getting together with people that they should not have been with, and it's like, what are you doing? And I did not like Archie and Betty. Like, they weren't horrible together, but I just preferred them not together.
Mm-hmm.
And they were together for, like, a lot of that season, I feel like. Like, I could be wrong, but I just feel like they were. Because, like, that...
Even by the end, they said that they were, like, supposed to, like, be together always.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't together by the end, but
I
they
thought it
were,
was...
like...
You definitely do not agree, but I thought it was kind of fun that they had Archie, Jughead, Veronica, and Betty be like, not like all dating each other. That was like kind of fun. It honestly makes so much sense for their characters.
I cannot believe you just admitted that.
It does. Okay, it makes so much sense for their characters.
You are admitting
and they're
that
just
you like Betty, Veronica, Archie, and Jughead in a foursome. You're admitting that to the world right now?
Yes.
Wow.
Because
so you're full in.
Yeah, because you get the best of all worlds when you're like a viewer, you know? Shut up, okay?
You already got the best of all worlds through the 7 freaking seasons of them switching spit the whole time. Why do they need to do it at the same time?
But not Veronica and Betty.
Yes.
Like 3 times.
3 times. That's still existing.
Last episode you were crazy. It's my turn, okay?
Yeah, it is.
I'm admitting it, okay?
Good for you.
I was like, I liked it.
All right, moving on. I'm scared for you.
Why? What do you mean?
All of our parents listen to this.
If they don't know by now that I'm that crazy, it's their fault.
Anyways, so season 7, something I hated that they took away was Betty's classic ponytail.
I know, you hated that so bad.
That was like my biggest thing. Like, I hated that more than like the superpowers that they added and the weird dimensions and all the weird witch stuff and like going back in time to the 50s. I hated Betty not having her ponytail more than that. What else to say about season 7?
About season 7, I thought it was fun to watch it. Like, I genuinely, like, season 7 was mostly just all about having fun. Because it was, you know, nothing like the rest of the show. It was just all about having fun. Which, I couldn't get past the fact that it wasn't like the rest of the show, like, relationship-wise. And that made it harder for me to enjoy the fun. But every time I remembered, like, this really has no effect on their relationships, then I was like, okay, like, it's fine. But, like, relationships in each episode didn't continue into the next in season 7. Like, there was one episode where they literally, Betty and Veronica killed Archie. And, like, it was, like, some random, like, special edition, like, comic book. So, like, season 7 was supposed to be comics, basically. Because, like, each comic doesn't really go into the next. They're just stories with the same characters. So it's like, yeah, I think that's really, cool. But, like, not knowing that going in, it's just kind of like... But I was glad that they like each other now. And now they're just back to not doing that again. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, oh, interesting. Why are you making that face?
I just can't get over the plots that happen in the show. Each time you remind me of one, it's just like
yeah.
Like it's
also poor Cheryl. Poor Cheryl. But she had to she had to like say goodbye to her brother. I can't even tell you how many times. Okay? First time was fake. She thought he was still alive. Second time should have been the only time. You know? He turned up actually dead. Third time, she had him in her basement.
His dead corpse.
His dead corpse in her basement. And her girlfriend made her bury him back. And she was like, had to say goodbye that time. Fourth time was when she dug him back up and put him back in her basement. But she decided that it was time to say a final farewell. And she put him, like, set him on fire, like, on a boat, you know, as he was sailing away. Fifth time was when she resurrected him when she became a witch. But she had to shoot him with a flaming arrow. She had to kill her own brother because he was, like, not himself, because he was a spell, you know? And that other one time that I forgot was actually before that, was when she had his burnt skeleton in a trunk in her house. So, I mean, a lot of it was brought on by her, but she still had to mourn him like 5 or 6 times, you know? Like, her twin brother. That's crazy. I love Cheryl.
That's wild.
And that's only, like, a fraction of the trauma like, all that happened in seasons 1 and 2 is why she became crazy and kept her brother in her basement.
Anyways, last thing I want to talk about is the last episode, which was the biggest disappointment in the world.
Yeah, that was a really weird way to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Betty an old woman?
Yeah.
For like a part of it, and the rest, and like, why were we being told the closure as a story of Betty's life like she didn't live it?
Mm-hmm.
That did feel not like closure at all.
Yeah, and them trying to wrap up the plot holes they had and failing.
I don't remember that.
I do, because Tabitha came back when everyone watching already forgot that the plot even happened. And then they were like, oh yeah, the actual plot line to this show is coming back.
Why wasn't Tabitha in season 7?
She was probably just doing some other show.
Yeah, but I liked her. I liked her character. And I feel like the fact that she wasn't there makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the last episode with old Betty, and
although the pops in the sky made me cry. Because it's like they're all coming together in heaven, in pops in the sky, to finally reunite all the time like they said they would back in high school. And whenever he was like, next time, or like when you're on the road to heaven or something, and he says, and you see a little diner, maybe stop on by. Like, that really got me. I wish I could remember what he said. But, like, that's so cute and very Riverdale.
yeah.
And it was good. Like, great last few seconds. But Riverdale shaped so much of who I am. Like, so much. And I couldn't even tell you all of it. But you can just, like, see little parts of me and you're like, that's definitely because of Riverdale. That's, you know, like, the whole liking the 50s. I don't think I liked the 50s before. Like, very much. Not like I do now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's, all we have time for today.
Yeah. That was a crazy episode for a crazy show and a crazy girl.
I really enjoyed it, honestly. Like, a lot. That was so much fun.
I had a time.
I love talking about Riverdale, and like nobody ever wants to listen. So
well, now there's gonna be a few people who forced to listen.
We didn't even talk about the crazy.
We didn't get into like
No, we did not get into it.
anything. Like,
we did not get into it at all.
Grazed the literal peach fuzz of what is Riverdale.
So maybe if you guys like it, then we could do a series.
If you really want to hear it, we can do a deep dive series in Riverdale and go like
I would definitely
season
enjoy
by
that.
season. Yeah, that would be a crazy time for sure. So I hope you enjoyed your birthday episode.
I did. That was a great present.
Yeah, and we gotta try out your new baseball stuff. And I gotta get me a baseball mitt so we can play catch.
Yeah.
Alright, well, hope you guys enjoyed.
We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, see you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Whoa! It was like, okay, the end.
Yeah.